Hello, and welcome to my presentation, Exploring Open Source Sprint Data via a Python Plotly Dashboard. A little bit about me. My name is Reshama Shaikh, and I'm a statistician based in New York City. You can find me on Twitter, GitHub, LinkedIn, and Medium at Reshama S. I am the director of Data Umbrella, which is a community for underrepresented persons in data science, and what we do is we organize data science events. And I'm also on the contributing team for the Python libraries scikit-learn and PyMC. Scikit-learn is a machine learning library for Python, and PyMC is a Python probabilistic programming language. I'm also an organizer for the New York City chapter of PyLadies. What I'm going to cover in today's presentation is I'm going to sort of give a background about some plots that I created for a report, and how I started off with the static plots and how I moved over to doing a dashboard. So a little bit about the background is I organized an open source sprint, which is a workshop to contribute to open source, the scikit-learn library. And after every sprint, I do a report of the sprint to give some high-level information about who joined and such to share with the contributors at the event, as well as the community in general. And so part of that report is I have graphs. And so in the demographics, I have, for instance, how many people applied, RSVP'd, attended, and this is a Plotly graph, which is embedded, and you can cursor over it and see that. One of the other plots that I did was a pie plot. And the other ones that I did are bar plots, and this is the people who attended the sprint from the different countries. And as well, there is a breakdown here, the attendee status by countries who registered for the event but didn't attend. And so this provides some information for the community. So the place to find this, the code for this is in this repository, which is data-umbrella/data umbrella sprints dashboard. And if you go to the notebooks folder, let me make this a little bit bigger just in case we need it. If you go to the notebooks folder, the notebook that we want to be in is 1_AFME2, which stands for the Africa and Middle East Sprint Report Cleanup. All right. And this is on GitHub, and I have launched my Jupyter Lab notebook. And this is the notebook, so I'm going to go over some of the code. This uses Plotly, and I'm not covering exactly how to produce the plots in this, but the code is all here, and I've done that in a separate presentation, which I can share as well. But I want to show, this is the code to produce the funnel plot. There's a few different funnel plots that I experimented with. This is the pie plot, and there's a few pie plots. This is the one that made it into the report. There is as well a whole series of bar plots. And so the bar plots, in this case, I looked for attendee status. If I go down a little further, there's whether they attended or not, but then there's another plot here by country as well. I was experimenting with different plots. There's the primary spoken language in the sprint, as well as contributor status. And you can see there are many different plots. The role of the people who attended, whether they were data scientists or engineers as such. And the code for all of this is available. How did the participants learn about the sprint? And you can see I have a separate cell and all of that. So there is a more streamlined way of doing a bunch of these bar plots, as well as starting with the Plotly dashboard. And there's a video by Laura Gutierrez van der Berg, and it's on the Data Umbrella YouTube, and I'll provide a link for it. But she goes into details about how to take this level of each individual plot and make it into a function and getting started with the dashboard. And so I watched the tutorial and I created some functions. And so this is sort of a testing to get the functions working, but then we launched it. I launched it, okay? And so if I come back here to my repository, this is the notebooks is where I started off to to experiment with what plots that I wanted. And if I go into the scripts folder right here, I also experimented with a bunch of dashboards, but the very last one, app try tabs 2, is the one that we want to do. So when I go here, I am in my cloned repo, which is Data Umbrella Projects, Data Umbrella Sprints Dashboard, Scraps. And so I'm going to launch this, this file with the dashboard. So it tells me the dash is running on HTTP. And again, the instructions for getting to this point are in that video by Laura. So I'm going to go over and I am going to, okay. So this is the dashboard that was created. And you can see that instead of having, if I go back to the notebook, there's all of these individual plots. The benefit for the dashboard is that, for instance, for the pie chart, I can choose a number of different. So if I want to go to gender, it tells me what the breakdown is by women and men, 33.8. If I go to contributor status, 35% were returning and new. If I want to go to how many attended and didn't attend, who applied. If I want to go to continents, this was focused on Africa. So the majority, over half, are from Africa, Asia, Europe, North America, and 3 people from South America. And if if we put our cursor over it, you can see the actual count and the percent. And so I was able to do a whole series of variables. So Python experience, what's their background in Python? 49, a count of 49, 2/3 were intermediate. We had 8% that were beginners. 2 people were null, which means they didn't provide any information. And there's one last, which is country. And country, we can see the majority are from Kenya and Nigeria, USA. And so this is an example of a pie chart and various metrics that we can look at. Then I did the same thing with the bar chart. And so I put in here, so if we start from the first one is gender. And what I did was I also broke it down into attended versus did not attend. And that gave me some information. For example, 14 women attended and 11 signed up and didn't attend. And for men, it was 26 and 23. And if I come down here for contributor status, we can say of the returning contributors, people who had participated in a previous sprint, the majority of them, did attend. Whereas for the new people, a lot of people signed up, but the majority didn't attend. If I go to continent here, we can see that the majority, again, this event was focused on Africa. And we can see that, a lot of people from the region did apply, did register, but didn't attend. And so we had some open slots. And so people from Asia, Europe, North America, and South America attended. If I go to country, we can see this is a little bit harder to read, but we can see that, for instance, Kenya had the most number of applicants, and we had 6 people attend, and 11 didn't. And this one is Nigeria. We had 8 people from Nigeria attend, but none of them apply and register, but none of them attended, which is interesting. If we come up here, we can say in the US, we had 5 attend and 1 not attend. So this is interesting. And so if we go down to, Python experience, we can see intermediate, it's half and half didn't attend. Advanced, the majority did attend. And so, the goal of this is to sort of provide some information. This is a little bit cluttered, so it's harder to see. And so this is, I think, not as informative, but it gives you an idea of, we can play with a lot of different metrics in looking at a dashboard, which is also a lot faster than using, say, a static plot, which we have here. So the other thing that I did was I embedded the funnel chart, which is really, there's no selection like there is up here as well. And so this is available in the dashboard. This is available in one place for people to see. And as well, there is a map. And so it tells us for all the applicants, the blue represents who, actually, I think I can zoom in. Can I? Okay, I can zoom in a bit. There we go. And so, the red means one, they attended. Blue means they didn't attend. Green said they were planning to show up but didn't. It was a no-show. We had only a couple of people cancel, one in Nigeria. And so if I go back and hit, I believe is it home? Let's try this. There we go. Okay. So that is the plot. And so the goal of this dashboard really is to show that there are many ways to look at the data and such. The code for producing each of these graphs is available in the repository, as well as in here. If I go into this script right here, it gives information about how to set up each of the pie. What I did was I started with the notebooks just to get the plots working. And then within here, how to put each of the plots within a div, which is an HTML language, and how to sort of add each of the plots into this to create a dashboard. So for future work, something else that I was working on is adding tabs to the dashboards. So for instance, if we come back here, this is one sprint that I did, but the next thing that I'm working on is adding a tab and creating like a whole new dashboard for another sprint, which this is a work in progress. I'd like to thank the PyOhio organizers for organizing this event. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at info@dataumbrella.org.